How are you, man? You
Good,
doing
good.
okay today? Good, awesome.
Yeah. How about you?
Well, kind of back at it. There was a big lag when schedules wouldn't match, and then like yourself, people are traveling or involved. I've got two or three out in the future a little bit. You remember Raylene Leakey?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping to do one with her in the next week or so.
Oh, cool.
She's on the mainland, and I think going to be back in Hawaii later today or tomorrow or something. So I'll give her the weekend to kind of, you know, you just took a long trip. I mean, you don't just come home and go right back into, life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that 6 hour time difference took a little while, but it was all
Yeah.
good now.
How long were you up there altogether?
Uh, week and a half, I think.
Okay.
About, yeah. Ate a lot of lobster and crab.
Yeah. Walter Rosehill just came back from a little family outing to Maine.
Yes.
Okay.
That's where Steve, well, Mr. Maresca to everybody. That's where he grew up, and he and my sister are married and go to Maine June through August, pretty much every year. They have a place there. So
Yep.
figure,
Awesome.
yeah. I went there 3 years ago and man, seafood, hey, and couldn't
In
pass
fact,
up a second trip.
in fact, if you hang on to the thought enough to next time you talk to Steve, I need to thank him again for he played a big part in my continuation through my sophomore year because I was flunking math really big time, and he sat down with me and helped me kind of learn
Yeah.
to visualize what was going on with all those symbols and numbers and
Now I did mention it way back and he goes, yeah, he's got a great memory. And he goes, Kermit, I remember Kermit.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's my
yeah,
goal to be there where he's at,
yeah.
at that time. So cool, cool. Let's give everybody a good, nice timeline. What year did you start at Kamehameha? Or what grade? I'm sorry.
I'm a lifer, kindergarten, room
Okay.
two. Yeah.
So Raylene would like that. I think she's a lifer. And I'm trying to think of who else I've had on so far that was a lifer. Doug Panay,
Grayling, Grayling.
Railing. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Doug. Yeah, maybe Doug. Uh, yeah, there's I think two classes with 25 in each class, and that was it,
Wow.
room one and two.
That's awesome. So I can't go back and ask you where you were before you got into Kamehameha because you were not in school yet. So
Yeah,
wow,
yeah,
that's
it was cool because my mom got a job at Kamehameha when I was in second grade. She worked at the ad building. I think she was Mr. Cundy's secretary or something like that.
okay.
So,
Yeah, I think I heard the name going through like prep school. The name would pop up on one of my visits to Miss Lord or something. I think I would hear her name mentioned
well,
there.
well, my aunt was a music teacher, uh, Violet Marie Rosehill. So
Okay.
some kids in elementary might have had her. Well, my mom is in an ad building, so uh, school was over. I had to hang out till she got off work. So, well, it was Aukai Bento, Kimo McClellan, and Joanne Hugo. And I know she's not maybe not known as Joanne Hugo now, but that's where I refer to her as. Sorry, Joanne. But
Well, I have to too because I had problems enough remembering the original name, let alone married names.
yeah, yeah. Well, so Joanne's mom worked at the ad building with mine, but I didn't really see her too much. It was after school. I mean, the teachers were gone, and it was all mostly Alkai and myself, sometimes Chemo. We just cruise around the whole elementary school campus because nobody was around. We'd go behind the classrooms, check out, the teachers' pet fish or rabbits or turtles or whatever they had back there. And it was pretty cool. I mean, I remember backtracking to kindergarten, and my dad brought home a little bantam hen from work. I don't know, showed up at he worked at the fire department. He showed up at the fire station, brought it home, and that was our pet. So in Alki, in elementary school, this may sound really weird, but he would bring chicken catalogs to school where you could purchase purebred uh, chickens from the mainland. And man, I looked at those catalogs. I was like, wow, that's cool. So I've been a bird guy my whole life. Had chickens my pretty much my entire life.
Wow.
No chicken
Um,
fights.
you didn't go, so I can't ask you, and I can't remember. Do you think I would have seen? Had you heard if Alki attended the reunion?
I don't know. Um, I don't think he did. I kind of correspond with him on occasion. Because I remember he used to live in Aiea, and when I was working part-time, I would pop by his house, and I actually gave him some of my little bantam chickens to have him run around his yard and stuff.
Oh,
So I don't,
cool.
I don't, I don't believe he did.
Uh, it'd be nice to track him down and we catch up and fill in the blanks.
Yeah, I can give him a shout, see if he's willing.
Awesome. Yeah, let me know.
Yeah, yeah.
So you did your whole tenure at Kamehameha. Let me jump to the point where we're approaching graduation. Concerned adults are saying, "So, Walt, what are you going to do now?" And did you have a plan at that time, or
Well, in high school, I did not do one extracurricular activity. When the teachers were talking, I was drawing old Volkswagen bugs and surfing and waves, you know. So as soon as I could get off campus, I was off campus and in the ocean. Um, I did take ceramics with Mr. Harvey
okay?
3 years, sophomore, junior, and senior year. So I really liked that. Loved it actually. I know Susan Amoy, well, David Ayu, and I think I can remember Nathaniel Kakalia,
Oh,
them
okay,
being in
yeah.
my ceramics classes. So I asked, we call him Harv or Harvey. I asked Harv, I said, hey, I'm thinking about going to UH and taking up, art. And he says, no, I wouldn't do that. Because you gotta spend the first 2 years taking all your prerequisites before you step foot in a ceramics lab. I go, huh? He goes, yeah, your English, yeah, all these. I go, oh man, that's not my strong suit. 'Cause I didn't have any interest in that. So he goes, yeah, oh man. So I never did. I went to the workforce, and actually, what I did, Harv was cool because I purchased my own potter's wheel, and he let me go up to campus after I graduated, and they had a big room with all dried clay, call it bone dry, and he would let me go in there, recycle it, put it in a big machine, filled up 55-gallon trash cans with my recycled clay. I'd bring it home, throw on my wheel, uh, do everything at home, and then there's a Y just in Kaneohe, the next town over from where I live in Kailua, and they would fire everything you made within that semester. So I made all my pottery, took it leather hard to the Kohokai Y, bisque fired it, glaze fired it, brought it home, and I would sell it. kind of word of mouth. Went to swap meets, sold it. Dentists made, custom orders for planters and stuff. So I was doing that for a
Wow.
while. But I never, then life got in the way and I still have my potter's wheel, but I haven't done it for years. So no, I just went into the workforce really.
Okay. What would you consider your first long-term work venture? Because I don't know what you did, but
Yeah.
I moved furniture and I worked construction, but really when you kind of thought, hey, I could maybe do this for more than 5 years.
Well, long-term jobs, I guess I did work at terminal transportation. It wasn't very long term because Harvey called me and said, "Hey, I'm teaching a UH class, ceramics class." So I said, "Oh, cool." So I went to my bosses at Terminal Transportation. It was actually owned by a old Kamehameha graduate, and I asked the bosses, "Hey, could I have this time off to go take this UH class?" And they said no. So I said, "Okay." So I quit, and then I filed for unemployment. And I know this is like probably not the best, but for a whole year, I collected unemployment and all I did was do pottery, go body surfing, and tinker with my old cars. And so I know I kind of went off on a tangent, but after that, I went and started driving tours part-time. Well, no, full-time. That was my actually first full-time job for any length of time was driving tours. And it was a small vans, started 13 passenger vans, and you just talk story with the tourists, drive them around the island, and that was a blast. It was fun. Adrian Acciona used to work for that company, but when I started, she moved to a different company. Same thing, driving, small vans around the
Now
island.
you mentioned the first place terminal transportations. In my head, that sounds kind of airport related, or
Yeah, this, so what was his, Keanu, I think, I can't remember his name, but he owned a hotel on YY Loop, and our yard was on YY Loop right next to the hotel, and they would take all the airport crews, pilots, flight attendants. They'd pick them up if they came into town. They'd pick them up, take them to their hotel, and same thing when they're leaving the hotel, going back, returning on their flight, they would pick them up, take them from the hotel to the airport. And then they also would do tour company luggage. So I was the guy who went to the airport, collected all the, what do you call those? Escorted tours, and would take their luggage, deliver it to, it was mostly the Ala Moana Hotel, a couple other hotels. And then I think that's how I got connected with, tourist industry because at the end, deliver their luggage, and some of the escorts are behind the desk, and they'd be counting. They have people left envelopes for them. They're with them for a 10-day Hawaii tour or a 7-day Hawaii tour, and they would be opening their envelopes. I'll be sitting at the desk and all this big chunk of money, their tips they would make. Just whoa, okay. So if, I don't know how, but someone said, yeah, these small vans, you end up with cashing your money every day. And I said, okay, sounds good. So that's how I ended up doing that. But I remember Unitours was the name of the uh, tour company.
oh, okay. How long were you with them?
The terminal transportation,
No,
see, I'm thinking,
the 13
oh,
passenger
oh,
guiding the
okay.
ship.
Actually, I worked full time for 2 years. Then I applied for the fire department. Um, it's funny because when I graduated from high school, my dad retired fire and my grandfather retired fire. And the fire chief at the time, my grandfather hired. So he said, the old brother brother stuff. He was, hey, you want to get in the fire department? Let me know. I'll make a phone call. Because Boniface IU was a fire chief and they wouldn't hire him because he had, I think, a bad back. So my grandfather said, "No, you know what? We got a place for you." So he put him in the alarm bureau where you take all the, the 911 calls. So that's what he did during his career, but he ended up actually becoming the fire chief. So my grandfather said, "Hey, you want in? All I have to do is make a phone call." And I was, body surfing, collecting unemployment. Ah, thanks, Grandpa. No, I'm good. So then when I actually tried out, I had to take the test, and the whole 9 yards. So they called me after I was with the tour company for a couple of years. So I went, got in the fire department, did my recruit class training, got assigned to a station. And then once I got assigned to a station, you work 10 days a month. You get every other day off for 5 days and then 4 days off. So I figured, call the tour company. And they said, yeah, sure. So I went back. I did the tour company part-time pretty much for almost until I retired. It was just a blast, just talking story with tourists and going around the island. You get restaurants, they tell you what you want to order. It's all complimentary. And so it was all good. And then I worked for the fire department 27 years.
How old were you when you joined the fire department?
I was 24. The first day, my first shift on duty, actually at the fire station, was my 25th birthday. So
That's
that I'll never forget.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
It's like my oldest daughter, her husband is I call him a cheater because what he did is he made sure they got married on his birthday. So, one less date to remember.
Yeah, yeah. No, can't forget that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So firefighter, um, the tour thing. Oh, how long you been married?
Gotta think about that one. No. 84, so 41 years in July.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did your wife have a career outside of the home?
Um, I met her because the tour company I work with, we would rely on tour agents sitting at the hotel lobbies and behind, desks where you can go in there and inquire about a luau or a tour or whatever. So she worked for, what was the name of that? Shoot, it was an Australian tour company behind a desk. And every Christmas, the tour company would throw a full-on party with full-on food, open bar, and they would invite all the tour agents because you'd have to scratch their back for them to sell their company's tours. So at one Christmas party, that's where I met my wife. She was um, one of the people in the dang, it was Outrigger East. See, my memory bank, poof. Oh, what was the well, anyway, it was a company, her and another friend. They worked in the office of that Australian tour company.
Yeah.
So that's where we met. Or well, met at a Akamai Tourist Christmas party.
Is she a lifelong Hawaii resident?
No, she's
Was she?
from Victoria, Canada, British Columbia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
She
and
just
then,
moved to Hawaii and got a job and met you.
yeah, yeah. And then after, she's super late, of course, but after the tour job, she worked in Kailua at Safeway. She worked in Kailua in British Columbia. Then I think my youngest daughter was in elementary school, third, fourth grade. She got a job.
Give me, yeah, just it's the motor bus. You with me? You look kind of frozen, or are you
In
waiting?
room two, which I was in. And then my mom worked, at Kamehameha from second grade on up. And then my wife worked at Kamehameha from like my daughter's like third or fourth grade until just recently.
Doing what? Teaching?
No, she was what do you call it? Educational assistant in Kamehameha, kindergarten.
Okay.
So she worked with two teachers in her whole 20 something years there. And
Wow,
so
that's
I found
pretty
out,
cool.
yeah, it was. And then my oldest daughter got in, she was in seventh grade. And so I believe they both rode with my wife to go to school there, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
you have two daughters.
Yeah, two girls. One
Okay.
graduated in '06. The younger one graduated in 2010.
Okay. Do they both live in Hawaii still?
Yes, I have actually a legal Ohana unit attached to my house, separate complex or a separate unit that has a kitchen, living room, bedroom, and everything. So that's where
Or
my
like
youngest
the
daughter,
so-called what do they call them? Mother-in-law suites.
I guess, yeah, it's I guess a legal, most of them are illegal, but it's a legal Ohana unit where it's a separate unit where her and her husband live, and that's on same property. And then
Oh,
my oldest daughter, she lives in Kaneohe, next, close by. So she pops
okay.
by quite often. Yeah, it's pretty cool that they both are still here. You hear about friends, oh, my kids moved here, 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 like, oh, bummer, But
Yeah. Do you have grandchildren?
nope, no grandkids. The youngest one is thinking about it, but who knows?
Yeah. Just wait and see. When
Yeah,
it's time, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Good. So at this point then, Walt, are you like completely retired?
Oh, one thing I would like to mention, which is really
Yeah.
cool, I thought. Sorry?
No, go ahead.
Oh, after he graduated, was it May 75? I think in June, I was off to Tahiti and I was there for about 6 weeks. My friend I grew up with, his dad was a chef at the Bali Hotel. So he goes, "Hey, you guys want to come down? You don't need anything. Just come down. Uh, 3 meals a day at the hotel restaurant." Uh, so I went, okay, shoot. And it was funny because we bought a ticket, go down there. There's a little house right next to the Bali Hotel, 4 rooms. Uh, one was an employee, one was my friend's dad's place, one was storage, and one was kind of empty. So we got there, we cleared it all out. The hotel manager showed us how to tap into the meals a day, walk right next door to the restaurant. My friend's dad was the chef. Anything you wanted for breakfast, anything you wanted for lunch, anything you wanted for dinner, bar open, whatever we wanted.
Wow.
Yeah, it was I was supposed to my ticket was like think for like I don't know maybe a month, maybe 4 weeks, and after 4 weeks, nah, I'm not going home yet. So I stayed for the 6 weeks. Okay, I ran out of money. I guess I should get my rear end back home. My friend and his brother were gonna stay there with their dad. So, and it was in on Huahine, which is an island like say a Maui compared to Oahu. We flew into Papeete, and then we had to take we spent the night at a hotel. We had to take a boat from Papeete overnight to Huahine. And the boat, his dad paid extra for us to have bunks. The bunk, all it was a piece of a plywood bunk where you could lay down in off the deck. And the deck had metal enclosures where they had cattle, they had pigs, they had goats. My duck feet, my swim fins as my pillow. Didn't get much rest, but overnight, we flew or we got on the boat, ended up on Huahine, and that's where we spent the 6 weeks. And so I had to go back to Papeete to catch the plane back to Honolulu. And My airline ticket was expired, spoke no French or Tahitian. People come up to me, start, rapping in Tahitian. No Tahitian, English, So I got off the plane, and the truck was a transportation take you to Papeete. So I got on the truck, and I was riding. I didn't know how to get off the thing. I was just a little cord, but you're riding behind on an open air truck with wooden benches, and the driver's in the front, you know. So to add to the story, my sister and her first husband sailed down to Tahiti on a catamaran, and they were supposed to have been back in Hawaii already. So I'm riding on the truck going to Papeete, not knowing where I'm going to stay, what I'm going to do when I get to the airport with an expired ticket. Don't speak any of the local languages. So I'll just wing it, right? So I'm riding on the truck, and I pass by the harbor, and I see my sister's catamaran. I went, wait, what? They're supposed to be back in Hawaii already. And I didn't know how to get off. I was pulling the cord, So I had to ride the truck all the way to Papeete. And I had a little carry-on suitcase. I got off the truck. I had to walk, I don't know, it was to me it looked maybe a couple miles back to the boat harbor. And I get to the harbor, and I get to my sister and her first husband's boat. I went, hey, and they look, what are you doing here? And they go, what are you doing here? So they kind of saved my rear. And I stayed with them, and they knew a Tahitian family. So when the day my ticket was, it was the flight was only once a week to back to Hawaii. So when the time came, the Tahitian woman lady who they knew very well, they knew the whole family. She went with us to the airport, and she looked at the agents. She picked out a Tahitian guy, and she went up to him first, and she said something in Tahitian. And then I went with my ticket. He looked at me, looked at the ticket, stamp. Okay, go ahead.
Wow.
Oh no. Okay, cool. What'd you say? And she said, I told him, look at the ticket and can you help? So he let me on. I got back to Hawaii, and I got saved by reason why my sister and my um, brother-in-law at the time were in Tahiti because they left, but a strong wind came and their mask broke. So they had to return to Papeete to repair the mask. That's why they're back in Papeete. So thank goodness for bad weather.
Now I'm kind of curious about, so they left Hawaii on the yacht and traveled to Tahiti?
They sailed to Papeete, yes.
You have you do you remember how long that takes, or
I knew it one time, now I don't.
would you say more than a week?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I think my guess, maybe 3 weeks. That's just my guess.
Because I'm kind of personally fascinated when I hear all um the stories about the voyaging canoe trips and
Yeah.
Kontiki and stuff like that. I'm going, yeah, when the weather gets bad, I would feel really isolated, like it would make me a little nervous.
Yeah, I mean, I love the ocean, but I don't know if I wanted to, want to spend a couple of weeks, 2, 3 weeks in the middle of it.
Yeah.
I like to go out, catch my waves, and come back.
Yeah. And I succumb to the marketing too. I see pictures of Tahiti and I just think, man, that would just be a great trip. I mean, it's got to be a beautiful place.
It was like going back in time, I think. Like here, like Fade, I believe I'm pronouncing it correctly, was a town in Huahine, and they didn't have any paved roads on Huahine, where the boat would pull up to the town dock. You'd get off, and the dirt road. It was about a 5, 6 minute walk to the Bali High Hotel, and the stores. there was only a few stores in the town, but they had a wooden platform walkway in front of each store and a place to tie up your horse. And that was it, you know? So, and you know, the our job there was to catch fish for the hotel aquarium bar. And we did that just like a couple times. And that was it. And the water's crystal clear, you know. Um, it was just, yeah, it was amazing. Got to go back there. Haven't been back there since, but
It just seems, yeah, especially that some of the resorts or whatever they feature, you got the little dock that goes out and then your lodging's out there in the water and
oh yeah, the overhead bungalows,
yeah,
like, yeah,
that just seemed like, wow, that'd be cool to like, oh, okay, wake up, roll out of bed, right in the water, just kind of to wake up and
yep, yeah.
good morning world, here I am in Tahiti.
I don't think they had any of those overnight overwater bungalows back in 1975.
Oh, but some is better than none. That is awesome. I talked with Mike Maderas, and early in his adulthood, he had a job that took him to Borneo.
Oh, cool.
And, as far as tropical and very different and exciting because they had sections where there's like wild animals you had to worry about. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
and I guess if you got far enough off where he was working, they even had to worry about, tribes that might kill you if they caught you
Oh,
and stuff like that. So
okay.
yeah, that would make me kind of go, okay, so where do I not go past what
Yeah,
point?
yeah, yeah.
Go back
Yeah, I
and,
was,
make a solid line going right here, do not
oh,
pass.
yeah, the hotel was cool because they had a bike rack in front of the hotel. And if you wanted to get on a bike, there was no locks. The bikes were just sitting there. And you get on the bike, ride around whatever you wanted to ride around. When you're done, put it back on the bike rack. So that was one place I saw my first shark. We were snorkeling. Me and my two friends hopped on the bike somewhere. We're snorkeling and, pointing at, hey, look, shark. Pointing, yeah, shark. Oh, that's pretty cool. Then after a few seconds, hey, uh, I think we should probably get out of the water. So we swam in and it was just a reef and I got nailed. Wave came and my back got all scratched up from the coral. I was trying to get out of the water, running away from that shark.
Especially now that you're probably dripping a little blood.
Yeah, yeah,
You're going, all
yeah,
right, I got some secret sauce on this meal.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. I mean, usually in each person's story, you hear one little piece or a couple pieces that just like, wow, that was different, and Tahiti, I don't know. I just read so much and see so much. It's on my bucket list.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Uh,
and I don't know. I'll just put it out there, when you're 18 and the ladies down in Tahiti only wear one piece swimsuits the whole time. And I'm not talking about, the full-on one piece suit. So that was like, oh, diving went to heaven, 18 years old. But anyway,
that would be uh that probably would have had me go back at 20 again too if I could big bar and steal money or whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, so how long have you're fully retired now, right?
Yeah, I retired 2008, at the end of 2008. So I've
Okay.
been enjoying retirement since then.
I know you have a lot of projects going on and such. Do you and your wife um like with your main trip, does she have family still in Canada?
She does she would actually go back quite a bit. Her mom just passed away earlier this year.
Mm.
So dealing with that, but she would go probably try to go at least once a year. If I went, sometimes I'd stay there a shorter amount of time than she did. I would come home and then she would spend more time with her parents. But now they're both gone, so we'll still. It's I don't know if you've ever been to Victoria, British Columbia, but the only other place I think I would live besides Kailua would be Victoria, British Columbia. Beautiful, friendly people.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's green, right on the water. That's my kind of town.
Yeah. So let's see. Your wife having originated from Canada. I like to ask people when their partners are not born local. Is she an open-minded eater? Does she do poke and crab and
Nope.
okay.
When I met her, I tease her all the time. So when I met her, I think she ate four things. Now I got it up to about 19 things that she actually eats. And her dad was like that. Didn't want to try anything, didn't, it's okay, but no, I'm good without it. So no, she does. When we go to like luau, uh, she'll take squid luau for extra for me, poi extra for me, lomi salmon extra for me. She would eat the Kahlua pig and the pineapple. That's it.
Okay.
Uh,
Let me ask the same question about your daughters.
oh, yeah, no, they're all good with the food department. Yeah, poke, you know, raw fish, squid luau, all that good stuff.
I talked to George Urinon yesterday, and his wife's not selective because of choice. She just is very health conscious, so she selects her diet based on what's in it rather than how it tastes.
Okay,
But he said his three kids are, yeah, they'll eat anything that doesn't eat them first. So,
yeah. Well, growing up, the kitchen table, everybody sat there and we just had one big bowl of poi and everybody ate out of the bowl of poi. And my daughters, I think when they're young, I think I put a little sugar in it to entice them. And then they loved that. Then I stopped with the sugar and they whack poi like anything now. But I think that's how I got them initially to start eating the poi.
yeah, a couple of my grandkids very early on, like probably even prior to starting school. I grew up on Molokai, surrounded. I mean, every single neighbor I had was Filipino. So,
Okay.
I mean, I love anything and everything they made. So, and
Yeah.
probably one of my favorites is the dinaguan, the blood
Oh,
with the
chocolate meat.
intestines, and yeah. And early on, like I say, as like toddler age, had
Yeah.
a couple of them. I would introduce it as chocolate meat, and it went down real well. But then
Yeah.
as they got old enough to actually look at an ingredient list, that they kind of stopped and went, "Oh, no, Grandpa, we're not going to do that one anymore." So,
Yeah.
but my second oldest grandson still, he'll eat anything I eat. So
How many grandkids you got?
9,
Oh, yeah. Right on.
and I think George said he has 8, but cannot beat Richard Bartlett. He be between him and his wife. I think they have like 23 or something.
Oh. Okay, what was her name again?
Okay, I will.
Oh.
Yeah, that's I keep saying I'd have to use whatever they're wearing. Like, hey, you with the blue shirt, come here.
Yeah, there you go. I think I had
Uh-huh.
back to the dinner going. I had my first experience of that. The fire department every day had someone's turn to cook. And then in the morning when you come on duty, usually they had leftovers on the stove if somebody wanted to eat leftovers from the previous day. So I remember going in first fire station, Kuakini, brand new recruit, go in there, see this pot on the stove. It's like, oh, gee, what is this? And the guy, oh, that's chocolate meat. Chocolate meat. I was oblivious, right? Give it a shot. Yeah. kind of I didn't like the flavor, and the meat was a little tough, or the pieces were a little tough. So okay, I'll pass on that. But then years later, there's a Filipino restaurant in Waipahu that we were on somewhere, and some guy, oh, over here is good food, and they had a lunch buffet. So we went in there, and they had the dinner go on. Oh, I'll chance it. Oh, that was ono. It was tender and tasty, and oh, I can handle this. So I'm good with the dinner go on. Depends on who makes it, I guess.
Yeah, because I've actually discovered where there are versions depending on where in the Philippines they learn to make it. Some
Oh,
versions are very, very dry. I mean,
oh, yeah,
hardly any sauce or anything or gravy or, and I'm not partial to that part. So, but
yeah, yeah,
in Minnesota, I can't be picky. I have to take what I can get. So
yeah. Yeah.
I think in Minneapolis, there's only maybe two or three Filipino restaurants, and they're um, culturally geographical too. Like I say, some of them make items that are way different from the others. So I have, of the three, I have my favorite that I like to go to
Oh, okay.
with
Got
stuff
it
that
in
I'm used
got
to.
it in the memory bank.
Yeah,
Well, that's
because
what I found too. Chinese restaurants, Chinese food, to me, is much different on the mainland than it is here locally. Like it, we went up Fireman Olympics. We went to San Diego, and as a local guy in San Diego, the fireman knew and said, "Oh, got this Chinese restaurant. It's really good." And I'm eating, and I go, "Wow, this is very different." I'm just checking the bag. Are these guys really Chinese back there? But it was just, and I've eaten, all over and different Chinese restaurants, different states, and it's just different. I prefer the Hawaii Chinese restaurants over
yeah, because what I've learned over the years is, you know, there's a lot more Cantonese than there are Mandarin people in Hawaii, and after getting to Hawaii, the recipe changes again. So, you get used to that, and then you'd have to kind of go somewhere more authentic to the original recipes or whatever. But yeah, I'm eating at some Mandarin places where you got to kind of be careful what you eat, depending on what you enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Well,
learned after moving to the mainland too, one of my favorites is meat Jun, but I found out after going to a couple restaurants up here on the mainland, meat Jun is a Hawaii Korean dish.
they're going, what's meat June? And you go, what do you mean,
Yeah.
what's meat June? What's I mean, yeah. No,
So,
my last fire station, there's a guy there. I don't know if he grew up in China or what, but he's going, yeah, I don't know. I don't here in Hawaii, Kaoyuk is the only red in Hawaii. It's not red in China. He couldn't get over that.
well, give me a quick second, buddy.
Sure.
Hello. Hi. Okay, what dates we looking at? What time? Uh, yep, I got that one. Okay. Mm, no, not good for that one. 28. What time is that one? Yep, I can do that one. 2:45. Where's that trip going? Okay, got him down. Thank you. Bye. Sorry
I
about
don't.
that, man. As we get closer to the school year starting, I drive a school bus, so they're starting to have sports trips.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so and that's always nice because I drive for an hour, hour and a half, then I sit there and get paid for three or four or five, and then
While the game is going on or something.
yeah,
Right on. Cool.
that's when I'm a professional sleeper sometimes.
Yeah,
Get paid to snooze.
yeah.
Oh, golly. So how do you spend having been retired this long, other than traveling and trips and stuff? Is it primarily your projects you stay busy with then, or
Uh, yeah, I got way too many hobbies.
nothing
Uh,
wrong with that though? I mean, it keeps you out of trouble.
yeah, I got a 57 Volkswagen that, drive it around every once in a while, but still needs tinkering, here and there. My house is 70 something years old, just found some little termite damage I had to take care of. So I'm trying to, I like old stuff. So like I'm trying to put back my house the way it was originally back in 1949. You know, uh, people say I'm stupid, but it's a thing. My Volkswagen is 100% factory original. The way it came from the Volkswagen factory, 68 years ago. Um, and I told you I'm a bird guy. I've been raising birds my entire life. Like I think I saw Daryl Kanemaku has show dogs. Okay, well, we don't have it. When my kids were small, they actually had chicken shows where the Gamecock Association here would bring in, what do you call it, registered or certified poultry judges, and they have poultry shows because they bring in all the gamecocks, importing the gamecocks to Hawaii, and they wanted to let the state know that these weren't for fighting, they're for show. So I always had bantam chickens, the small ones, and I had bantam, called Old English game. So I'd take them to the shows, for them. But now they don't have any shows anymore. But I've always been a chicken guy, so I always have chickens running around the yard or in cages. And then I also raise Birmingham roller pigeons, which is a competition bird, and they have competitions twice a year. And so I do that, the birds, the car, the old house. I rarely get to the beach anymore, but every time I go, man, I should do this more often. But just just stuff gets in the way.
I know exactly what you mean because from 96 to '09, we were living in Hawaii out in Makaha. And from town to Makaha, the entire time you're running past that ocean 16 feet, out your car window.
Yeah,
And it seemed like we're going to the beach two or three times a year. It's like, you get involved
yeah,
with scheduling and work
yeah.
and
I
I'm
mean,
glad you just reminded me because I remembered when we were sitting down with Kila and Waimanalo, I think you shared a little bit of your roller pigeon stories where they got mislocated on Molokai or something.
yeah. The Birmingham rollers are a different breed. They'll frustrate you to no end. Weather conditions, their homing instinct is like slim to none. I mean, all the training, what they do is, if anybody is interested, they do backwards somersaults really fast. That the good ones, you can't even tell it's a pigeon. All you see is a blur going like that and dropping. So they're judged on how they do it, if they do it correctly, and the depth that they drop while they're doing it. And there's two competitions, 11 bird competition and a 20 bird competition. Here in Hawaii, we mostly only flew the 20 bird. And you can fly anywhere from 15 to 20 birds in your kit or team. If I took my 20 bird team, took them to Kaneohe and let them go, I'd be lucky if I got five, six back. That's why their homing instinct is not very keen. But you do all your training at your house. So they go fly over your house. And if you win, Hawaii is one region. If you win, whoever wins the Hawaii region, the finals judge will come to your house to judge your pigeons in the finals. So the finals
Wow.
judge has to go for the national competition. The organization is called the National Birmingham Roller Club. That's all of US and Canada. The world competition is a US, Canada, all over Europe, South Africa, and Australia. So one guy goes either around the country and Canada for the national competition, or the judge for the world competition goes around the world. It's all paid for. The regions are responsible for your transportation, your meals, and your lodging. And um, it's just, you know, you get to see the world basically, and judging pigeons.
Now, as far as supply, let's say I woke up tomorrow in Hawaii, I wanted to get into it. Can I go somewhere and buy Birmingham rolling pigeons?
Uh, yeah, well, we got local flyers that I've been looked up on the internet, and my wife and I were on a trip to Europe last year. Somebody reached out, and I said, "Oh, I'm on a trip, but I'll get back with you when I get back." And he's an old racing pigeon guy who fully retired and wanted to get into something. And he recalls a guy who used to fly rollers with us, an old racer pigeon guy in Kaneohe that he went to his house, had roller pigeons. So now he's into it. He's big into it. He's got roller pigeons and he goes, man, I enjoy it. I sit in my chair in my house, don't have to go, cost money to send them out on training tosses and, you know, big money because if you win a roller competition, yeah, they make you a nice plaque, but basically it's a pat on the back. There's no. Some people might say, "Hey, you got birds for sale," and people's birds, their price goes up, but I don't really bother selling birds. People want to try to help them out, but there are ways, and you can bring them in from the mainland too, but there's a big cost factor in that. Years ago, they used to be able to just stick them in a post office shipping box, approved post office shipping box, ship them express mail from the mainland to Hawaii, and you get them. Now you can't do that. You got to go through hoops and red tape and leaps and bounds and
Because
to
it
do
made
it.
me curious. You say you might just go next door to Kaneohe and only get a third of your birds back. I mean, that's like inventory that you got to replace, or.
Yeah, it hurts when you lose them like that because the time I told you I had it was a day after Christmas. I was flying my birds. They're flying for about an hour. Four had landed, 28 were still flying. And my brother was over from Kona. So we got to go. We're doing something. So I said, heck, they're flying for an hour. That's kind of long for them to fly. So I opened the trap door, which they can go in the cage by themselves. And I said, you know what? We'll just go, leave the trap door open, come home. They'll be, should be all landed or, in. Came back a couple hours later. The four were still sitting there. The 28, nowhere to be found. Like nowhere. So uh ended up five ended up on Molokai from Kailua. And
Wow.
I don't think any other birds were found anywhere else. And the guy on Molokai, uh, he did the white dove releases for like weddings and funerals. So people knew him, Molokai, everybody knows everybody, right? So everybody knew he was a pigeon guy. So one actually he trapped in at his house, but most of them were on the West Coast. that people found in their yards or, just walking around. And they got a hold of him and he was able to collect them. And there's a guy in Kaneohe that used to fly rollers with us. And he sent an email out, hey, anybody missing any roller or tumbler pigeons? And there's a picture of the five. And I know my birds, and they ended up on Molokai.
Wow.
Even the guy in Kaneohe, Diana Coe, was would always walk by his house. She lived close to him, and I don't know. He brought up the story how they ended up on Molokai, so she wanted to do a news story on that. So she came over here and did a little. I think it was KHON News. I forget. She was with at the time and did a story about how these roller pigeons ended up from Kailua over to Molokai.
Wow. That is so cool.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And my dad grew up on Molokai. I was telling you that. So, you know, we used to go, my sister and her first husband, the one with the catamaran in Tahiti, they used to live, my dad had two lots, one Mauka of the highway, one Makai of the highway. So my sister's got the lot on the Mauka side, and my brother got the lot on the Makai side. And they had both houses there. And we would go every Thanksgiving, we'd fly over there and go there for my sister's place at Thanksgiving. And my dad used to break horses as a kid
Wow.
and for money. And I think I mentioned to you, the Aping store. Mr. Aping was his bank. So whenever he and this other guy would break horses, they break them for $5. They give Mr. Aping their money. And when they needed money, he'd go to Mr. Aping in the Aping store, say, I need $2. So you give them the $2, write down in the log how much money they had left. So one Thanksgiving, we were at my sister's house, and where'd Dad go? I don't know. He just disappeared. He comes trotting up to the front of the house on a horse. I go, "Oh, Dad, where the heck did you get that horse?" Oh, so. So I know, still breaking horses.
Yeah. Some communities are very, they can surprise you with how much they trust other people with, or,
Yeah.
what connections you have because you know somebody. Uh,
I never another story. He would go over there, stay at his house on the Mackay side of the highway, and he was walking on the highway one day, and he told me he used to break horses with this guy, Cowboy Otsuka. So he's walking on the highway, had a older gentleman working on his lo'i right on the front. So my dad's walking by, he figures out about the same age. He goes, "Hey, excuse me, do you know Cowboy Otsuka?" So the guy stops working. Who's asking? So my dad grew up thinking his last name was Brown, Walter Brown. It wasn't until he came to Oahu trying to get a job that they told him there's no Walter Rosehill, can't find you. Or excuse me, there's no Walter Brown. So anyway, he tells Cowboy Otsuka, he says, "Oh, Walter Brown." And he goes, "I'm Cowboy." They united after all those years.
wow. It's amazing. So siblings, you have what, three? Two sisters and a brother?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you the oldest then?
No, I'm the spoiled baby, as they all say.
Oh,
The
okay.
youngest. Yeah.
It's odd how normally one of the older boys will get dad's first name, but they waited and gave it to you, huh?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. It
Uh-huh.
was funny, it was like all my brothers and sisters graduated from Kamehameha. When I got into the fire department, everybody was asking me, "Hey, you Lucky's brother? Hey, you Bill's brother? Hey, you Keaho's brother?" I go, yeah. I go there, tons of them in the fire department.
Yeah, because Your sister is like the age range between oldest and youngest. It covers a few years, doesn't it?
Yeah. My oldest sister grad in 66, and then my brother 68, and then my sister 69. And then me
Okay.
came along later.
You were from that night when the TV service was out, right?
Well, I remember, I don't know how it came up. My mom told me once, or my dad, I forget, but he said, "Yeah, your mom one day said, I want another kid." You go, "Okay, thanks, mom. That's why I'm here." Yeah.
You were the special request.
Yeah, I guess. I know my mom, I remember her pet names for me is uh when I was growing up because I had to ride home with her, and I didn't get to see Miss Lord and get the paddle in elementary, but I did get, you know, some reports that I wasn't on my best behavior. So she'd always call me, she said I always had ants in my pants, and she'd always call me a fuss budget. I remember that. But I do remember, I forget why, but I remember one ride home, she railed into me the entire ride from Kamehameha all the way to Kailua. And I forget what it was for, what trouble I got in at school. But I just remember that nonstop. I deserved it, I'm sure.
Yeah, it I know there were situations like that for me where at the time I didn't really get it. But then once I became a parent or, having dealt with younger children, then it was like, oh, that's why they were mad at me. You know,
Yeah,
it finally clicked. I had the missing pieces to the puzzle.
yeah,
Uh, so
yeah.
you got plans in the near future? Any more trips or
Any more trips? Well, I don't know. Haven't had anything set in stone. Eventually want to go back to Tahiti. Um, Want to eventually do a Alaskan cruise. And we went, my wife and I went on a river cruise in Europe last year, and that was amazing. I mean, it was cool. Uh,
what countries did you guys experience in that trip?
Started off in um, Budapest. They went to Vienna, I believe, and then all through Germany. Ended up in Amsterdam.
Wow, cool.
And yeah, you get off the boat. They had a free tour usually every day, or you could sign up for additional tours. And couple, I forget the exact memory. We did it on an e-bike tour. We went on a long trip up to some temple, or uh, not. I couldn't call them temples. What were they called? Maybe a monastery. Anyway, I might be using the incorrect term, but that was cool. There was a lot of times you go on the tour and goes, this wouldn't make safety regulations in the US. But it was, you didn't feel unsafe, but just that what they did. And there was one beer tour we went on where you got on a boat and you go on a section of river. The tour guide on the bus, she was drinking one of the, tall German beers the whole time on the whole tour, you know. And she'd give the tour, get on the boat, sample all these different beers, and then you could ask for any beer you liked. You can ask for as much as you could consume in that time period. And then at the end, they went around with Jägermeister shots. And the tour guide the whole time had a beer and Jägermeister. She was tanking them, with us. And you're like, okay, I don't think that would fly. Although I can say this now because it's long past. But when I was driving the tours part time, we would drop them off at the Polynesian Culture Center at like 2:30, and we didn't have anything to do till they got done with their evening show at 9 o'clock. So we'd go buy beer, we'd go buy those little uh, barbecues, go to the shrimp farm, buy shrimp, go play basketball at Howla Park, go body surfing Pounders. barbecue the shrimp, drink beer. Everybody had their swim trunks hanging over their rear view mirror from the Polynesian Culture Center back to Honolulu. And the your swim trunks, there's like three or four vans with these swim trunks on the rear view mirror going outside. But they're nice and dry when you got back to Waikiki.
Yeah.
Uh,
The good
the
old,
good old days.
absolutely, man.
Yeah. And traveling, I don't know, just I've traveled around the country judging pigeons a couple times. So I don't know if I want to do that again. I mean, it's cool. You stay at people's homes or they put you up at a motel and you go judge their pigeons and free food. But then my wife was really cool. She took care of my birds while I was gone. I remember I had to go, I did the national championship one year. I was gone for a month. And then I told him, you know
Wow.
what, I'm not going to do it nonstop. If you fly me home, let me, midway. So I was gone for a month, came back home 3, 4 days. Then I went back on the road, did another 3 week, around the country. I did circle the country a couple times on two different times, judging pigeons. Came home. That was long. It was a really cool experience, but that was long.
Seems like it would be.
Yeah, but you meet all the guys that do the same weird hobby as you. And was I'll tell you this one story in LA with the gangs. You go judge their pigeon. I went to what's that place? Watts and Compton, and they told me, okay, whatever you do, we don't go on people's properties. You have to stand on the sidewalk, to judge the pigeons. And okay, whatever. So we go to this one guy's house in Watts. I judge his pigeons, and then I tally the score sheet. So I look, wait, where's Roni? I need to give him his score sheet. Oh, he went back to his house. He's getting his pigeons in his loft. Okay. Not thinking, I go walk down his lane. Okay. And again, as already warned, you don't go to anybody's house. I pass this one house. There's a porch there. And there's like four people just staring at me. So I wave hi. They didn't say hi back. They just were just staring at me. And I'm clueless still, you know? So I walk to the end of the lane. There's another house there, the door, and another 3, 4 people standing outside the door, just staring at me. So I ask, oh, how's that? Where's Roni? They didn't answer me. So then Roni hears me calling his name. Oh, I'm over here. So I go give him his score sheet. Then I walk back out. Finally clicked. I guess I wasn't supposed to come here. This probably wasn't the best idea. Or, walking out past the houses where the people just staring down at me. And then that day, we think we went to like 3 guys' homes, 4 guys' homes. And the first home was right at the crack of dawn. They like to fly their pigeons because they don't want to get attacked by hawks or falcons because they'll come and, take a pigeon out of the air to eat. So went to the first guy's house. Again, everybody on the sidewalk. Myself and we call them scribes or scorekeeper were across the street, about a house down, away from everybody. So the next house, we went, same thing, next house. But got to the last guy's house, there's only about the crowd dwindled each house you went to. The last house was maybe only 6, 7 guys there. With the same guy that's scorekeeping with me. So the last guy was done flying his pigeons. So the scorekeeper goes, oh, I guess I don't need this anymore. He takes off his jacket. He takes off his bulletproof vest. And everybody else is going, dude, what? And he goes, something, whoa, okay. I go, hey, you and I were standing by ourselves away from the entire crowd, scoring pigeons, and you're there with the bulletproof vest, and I'm here with the t-shirt. Like, dude. And he actually disappeared out of the scene. He ended up, stealing money and stuff. So I could see why might have been after him. But man, I was like, dude, that was uncool. Innocent judge, gang violence at Compton. Oh boy.
That
It's
would
another
be
life experience, I guess.
it can be a chapter in your autobiography when you get ready, Walt.
Yeah. I keep on telling that story to other judges that come in and, I go, whoa, no kidding. I'm like, yeah, no kidding. Even the
Wow.
guys that were there, in LA, that were the last guy's house were like, what? You're like, but glad he didn't need it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
man, that's been a lot of situations, a lot of things. I'm glad you brought up the Tahiti trip. That was pretty cool sounding. I mean, we missed it at the beginning, so luckily you jumped back. But oh man, it hopefully we have something again soon that'll fit your schedule better because I know you had to miss our reunion in June for other things on your calendar, but
Yeah. That was the first reunion I missed. I was out of town. Uh, but I've been to every one but that one.
well, that's a lot more than I have. I think.
Yeah, I think I remember talking to you at one reunion about when you had the driver's education classes that you were doing.
Yeah. And I miss it, but it's a lot different world teaching driving in a state that's got snow and ice, and
Oh yeah.
Hawaii was a lot easier.
Yeah, I've been to British Columbia, Victoria in the winter, but unless I don't drive unless, the weather says, it's good, no danger.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to
Oh,
experience that black ice or whatever, icy roads or whatever you call it.
well, hopefully too, maybe I can get somebody. They've got the Kauai classroom or classmate thing going on this weekend, so
Oh, okay.
there's a few people headed that direction. Can kind of maybe get one of them on with me, and we can kind of update ourselves on this and that. But
Sounds good.
yeah, I
I
gotta
can
say,
I can reach out to Aukai, see if he's willing. I don't know. He might not be, but hey, I can throw it out there.
give it a shot. Yes or no, I'll accept whichever direction it goes. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
big mahalo for taking the time out today to talk to me, man. I appreciate it.
No, hey, thanks. All kudos to you and what you do, the time you spend, and you know, how's it to all fellow classmates out there? And again, big mahalo to you, Kermit.
Awesome.
Without
Appreciate it.
you, this wouldn't happen. So thanks again.
A hui
Okay,
hole,
now.
my friend.
Okay, aloha. Bye bye.